3 days ago, on March 3rd, we had hit the 6-year anniversary for the Nintendo Switch. Yes, the Nintendo Switch has been out for 6 years now, and we are now entering year 7 of the console, which a lot of the time means we are at the end of a gaming console. Now, we know Nintendo did say that they was going to take the Switch as long as they could before entering the next Switch or the next console or whatever it's going to be, but things are looking a little bit bleak for the future of Nintendo right now. I mean, this year, for instance, is just full of DLC. There's going to be tons of more Splatoon updates, and obviously the big DLC in the summer, more Mario Kart waves and tracks coming out, Xenoblade and Fire Emblem getting DLC, Pokemon getting DLC at the end of the year. There's just DLC everywhere you look. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom comes out literally in 2 months, and the hype for it is just kind of stalled because the only reason you'd be very excited for this game is if you're just straight up a Zelda diehard fan, which, yes, a lot of us are, but even with that, there's still not a lot to see. Like, it still looks a lot like the first game. There's not a lot shown off yet, and we still need more information about what we're doing in this game, but nevertheless, it is probably the biggest game of the year, and the big hitter, obviously hitting here early this year in May. And then the only other game we have this year, a really big release, is Pikmin 4, and that is in July. And besides that, there's nothing else to look forward to this year. There's no other big announcements, no big holiday game announced, nothing coming later this year, at least not yet from Nintendo. There's no real excitement. And yes, I feel like after 6 years, the Nintendo Switch is starting to come to that point where the hype is kind of dwindling. We now only get like 1 or 2 semi-big games a year, and that's really about it, with small little announcements sprinkled in. I mean, shoot, so far this year, the only thing we've gotten is Kirby's Return to Dreamland, like the 8th Kirby on the Switch. It's an old game from the Wii, but they brought it back on the Switch in a great way, and it's been probably the biggest massive game of the year so far, and it's a remake from the Wii. A remake from the Wii! And right now we know Nintendo has said that they did not want to appear at E3 this year along with the rest of the companies in the video game world, which either means one of two things. One, Nintendo is not going to have any presentation whatsoever, or two, they might do their own thing. But as we've seen 2 times so far when there was no E3s, Nintendo didn't do anything. They didn't have any special events, anything for their games. The only thing they had was third-party mini direct partner showcase, which is all third-party games. So it left us to speculate and wonder what the heck was coming out from Nintendo's main first-party series. So with so much DLC still coming out this year, and probably Splatoon DLC this summer and Pikmin this summer, I almost find it hard to believe that Nintendo is even going to do any type of big presentation this summer, especially they don't have any games planned for the end of the year. If there's nothing planned for this holiday season and nothing for the end of the year, then what the heck is happening? What's going on? Well, I think there might be something big coming very soon, and I actually made a video on this 2 months ago. Around 2 months ago, the hope and kind of hype around a Switch Pro or the next Switch or whatever was going to be kind of died. There was not going to be any type of upgraded Switch or anything. Nintendo's moved on clearly for something else, and we're not really 100% sure what happened to that. It just kind of died off, and the hopes for an upgraded Switch is just kind of left in the mud. But I had a feeling that Nintendo was gearing up for something. Knowing we were approaching 6 years of Nintendo Switch, it felt like Nintendo needed to do something big, especially with their recent game announcements. They just weren't hitting the way they used to. It's been so long since a mainline Mario game, and also it just seems like we're just getting lots of DLC instead of Nintendo trying other franchises, like bringing back games like Kid Icarus or maybe Donkey Kong finally getting a game. I don't know, recently it's been feeling like Nintendo has been saving a lot of their main games and just releasing stuff that people have been waiting for so long, like Metroid Prime Remaster, and just kind of shadow dropping games and DLC expansions. It doesn't feel like anything huge is coming out on purpose almost, like Nintendo's saving it for a reason. And for some reason, I felt like a big Nintendo Switch presentation would be happening again, but this time for the new Switch or the new console, whatever Nintendo's planning. Well, there's also some strange things happening right now in the Nintendo world. There is a weird leak that popped up on Reddit, and we know how we can take that with a grain of salt, but this leak actually came out right before the trailer for the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, and they predicted everything down to the T. I mean, perfectly. But the last sentence states, "We are working on a graphical enhancement patch for the new Nintendo Switch models that will be released alongside DLC 2. Along with this, the normal big insider Jeff Grubb had something to say about it as well, and said that he's been hearing things about a Switch 2 reveal in late 2023, which kind of lines up with this leak slash rumor from Reddit slash 4chan. Jeff Grubb also doesn't think Switch Pro or Switch 2 will be the next system, but something in between, whatever that means. So it just seems like it's going to be some type of upgrade, new version of the Switch, which makes a lot of sense. You have so many games on the Nintendo Switch right now, you don't want to move on to a completely new piece of hardware that plays completely different games. You want to keep that Switch library in there, but also don't make the same mistake the Wii U did, just not really marketing the Wii U as a new console, but a lot of people thought it was just an add-on for the Wii. You want to make this clear that this is the next Switch. This has a big difference, you know, and I think it would do extremely well. I've talked about for so long why this just actually makes sense too. Let's take the leaks and rumors aside and push them away and just look at the evidence. I mean, like I said, there's really nothing else coming out this year. It seems like every game is finishing its DLC this year, besides technically Splatoon, but the DLC for Splatoon will be released this year. But the additional updates, that doesn't matter. You know, there's always going to be additional updates and stuff for a while. That goes on for an extra year. So I don't think that's a big issue, but all the main paid DLC and everything for every game will be out before the year's over. I think there was even a leak that Tears of the Kingdom is going to have DLC. It'll probably be out before the year's over. That's the same way Breath of the Wild handled it. But yeah, you pretty much start the Switch with Breath of the Wild, and then we can end it with Tears of the Kingdom. It's perfect. So is there a chance that Nintendo's big E3 that normally happens in June is going to be now replaced with a big Nintendo Switch 2 presentation, gearing us up for a big holiday season? I mean, remember, the original Switch missed the holiday season. It actually released early in March. But what if this holiday, the reason we haven't heard about any games or any information is because there's a big game coming alongside the big brand new Nintendo Switch. We're also hitting that point where a lot of Nintendo's big franchises are hitting the go-round, where it's almost time for another game in that series, and instead of throwing them all on the Switch, maybe Nintendo wants to wait and put them on the brand new Switch, the brand new console, and that makes a lot of sense. That way they can have lots of software ready to go by the time this thing releases. I mean, Yoshi could definitely do another game, something maybe bigger, more ambitious, maybe even in 3D. Luigi's Mansion 3 did so well, it outperformed, I think, everybody's expectations. This game was phenomenal, so it's without a doubt Nintendo's working on Luigi's Mansion 4, and it'd be a perfect game for the next console, especially when it was like one of the best looking games already on the Switch. For crying out loud, it's insane that the only Donkey Kong game that we've gotten was a port of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze brought onto the Switch, especially with Donkey Kong having such a big emphasis in the Mario movie and stuff. He even has his own expansion coming to the Orlando theme park. Like, how was Donkey Kong done so dirty on this Switch? There was rumors that he was going to get a brand new 2D or even 3D game and stuff, and nothing came. So maybe this is an example why it didn't come, because they're saving it. Mario Maker 2 was a humongous game for the Switch and literally kept players playing and creating crazy things, and even content creators on YouTube for making videos for like over 2 years with unique properties and things that they were able to do with this game. This game has to see another game soon. I mean, a Mario Maker 3 is probably imminent, and it'll probably do some crazier things again this time around, which I'm super excited for. But that's something else that is going to go crazy on the brand new Switch. And believe it or not, this December will be 5 years since Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I know a lot of people are going to continuously say, leave Sakurai alone, give him a break, but he's not the only one working on this game, people. Like, literally, he may not even come back for the next one. It could be completely new developers. So stop acting like Smash Brothers is never going to happen again. One of the biggest franchises for Nintendo. It is going to happen again. And I really do think it's going to be a soft reboot of the series, kind of reinventing all the different characters and how the game plays, which would be really, really cool. And I do think it will be coming for that next console. I think it's going to be a huge game, actually, and it just makes a lot of sense. And another thing I want to remind a lot of people is I'm not downplaying the kind of overall meaning of this game and how much effort it took from the dev team. I'm just saying that a lot of this game was actually, you know, already assets existing in other games. They just brought over different characters, all the stages and stuff, and a lot of the movesets just stayed the same. Some got some small tweaks, but for the most part, it was the ultimate Smash game, which meant it took all the greatest attributes from the past games and brought them all to this one, which means a lot of new stuff was left out. There were new characters, of course, and I guess there was a new story mode, even though World of Light was really just us battling the computer. That's what I'm talking about. There was a lot of stuff brought back from old games and not a lot of new, so I feel like the development time wasn't nearly as stressful or as big as some of the past Smash games. I know we're all excited and enjoying Mario Kart right now, but remember, Mario Kart 8 is still a Wii U game that came out almost 10 years ago. Like, we know another Mario Kart game will have to come eventually, and there was even rumors that Mario Kart 9 for the longest was actually being worked on, and it had a new twist and something different for the series, but we never saw it come out because Nintendo decided to just go with this DLC right now. And maybe this was just a quick way way for them to have more time to work on this Mario Kart and save this next Mario Kart for the next console. So I'd say around year 2 of the next console, we could even see the next Mario Kart. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but it's true. And of course, the biggest one in the room right now is Mario. Mario just seems to be nowhere. I mean, seriously, we've gotten tons of remakes and ports and spin-offs with sports titles and stuff, but as far as mainline Mario game, not many. I mean, we got Mario Odyssey, and that's about it. Mario Maker 2, technically, but that's really as far as the extent goes. Everything else is older games brought back, and yes, 3D World did add Bowser's Fury, but it's still just Mario 3D World at its core, because Bowser's Fury was only about 2 hours of gameplay. So where is Mario? What's going on with Mario? I've been saying for a while now, it seems like Nintendo is waiting for the brand new console to release Mario. How Breath of the Wild was the launch title for the Nintendo Switch, this next Mario game will probably most likely be the launch title for Switch 2, which makes a lot of sense. And also, right after the Mario movie would be phenomenal, getting people excited for this next big Mario game after watching the Mario film. Not only will that drive sales for the Mario game, but it will drive sales for the console as well. The point is, we don't need all these rumors and leaks to tell us what's Nintendo's plans. We don't need this stuff to tell us that there's a new Switch coming, or there's a new console on the horizon, and that the current Switch is on its way out, because we can see it. The games right now are stuck with the DLC, and there's not much more big, new, and exciting announcements coming anytime soon, and right now the holiday season is blank. It just feels like it's time for Nintendo to generate that hype we had when the Switch first released, and it feels like it's coming very soon. And my bets is wait until the Mario movie is out and released for a while, and then we'll start seeing some things flourish. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Are you guys excited for another Nintendo Switch console, or are you fine with the Switch still for a couple years? Let me know down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo, and I will see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.